I am so pleased to welcome each of you here today for our first ever spring virtual event, Wellness and the Healing Journey. How wonderful to see so many of you out here. Thank you for joining us. Please note, today's event is being recorded and your mics have been muted. We invite you to use the chat and reactions features at the bottom of your screen to interact with us. Charlotte Maxwell Clinic is a nonprofit organization that provides integrative cancer care to underserved women. Our mission is driven by the belief that every woman deserves access to quality cancer care, regardless of her ability to pay. I know I speak for our founders, staff, and the hundreds of essential volunteers who have collaborated with us during the past 3 decades of the immense privilege it has been to be of service, helping to improve health outcomes and quality of life for thousands of beloved mothers, grandmothers, wives, sisters, and daughters during their cancer journey. We often meet them during the most challenging period of their lives. They may have had a lot of conversations and experiences dealing with illness, but sometimes fewer experiences focusing on wellness and navigating the path of their healing journey. Today, we are pleased to have special guests, staff members, and volunteers all contributing to our program. You will hear from leaders who have a great deal of knowledge and life experience related to their own healing and their commitment to wellness. At the end of the program, we will have an opportunity for you to enter a drawing for a chance to win a special present. As you can see, it's a lovely gift basket with a book by one of today's speakers entitled Living Your Intuitive Genius, and some products from Thrive Cosmetics, a beauty brand that features vegan, 100% cruelty-free formulas containing proven ingredients without the use of parabens or sulfates. There's also a CMC mug with goodies including organic tea, honey spoons, chocolates, a candle, an affirmation stone, and a CMC pen. And it's a good pen. So be sure to stay with us to find out how you can be one of 5 people to win one of these lovely gift baskets. And speaking of gifts, it is now my pleasure to introduce a woman of many gifts whose joyful presence and knowledge are so appreciated by both our clients and our staff. Please join me in welcoming CMC's Medical Director, Dr. Mary Lynn Morales.
Thank you, Melbra, and welcome everybody. Just wanted to let you know that I am a licensed acupuncturist and a doctor of acupuncture. And in my private practice, I use Chinese medicine to help my clients. And here at CMC, as the medical director, I just have to tell you, I love the clinic. And if you ever visit us, you will understand why. For over 32 years, we have offered complementary alternative modalities to support our clients. And they're all low-income women with cancer who otherwise would not be able to afford these types of services. All of our services are free to our clients, and all of our practitioners are volunteers. We have a wonderful community of volunteers and clients that come together each week to create a wonderful community that allows us to help make the world a better place. We currently offer acupuncture, herbal medicine, Chinese herbs and Western herbs, nutritional counseling, as well as groceries, homeopathy, various kinds of massage like Swedish massage, shiatsu massage, craniosacral, acupressure, and others. We also offer life coaching, energy work like Reiki and Rosen work, and movement therapy such as yoga and Qigong, and I almost said Tai Chi, Nia exercises. Over the decades, we have had hundreds of volunteers, and really it's the volunteers that are the lifeblood of the Charlotte Maxwell Clinic. We wouldn't be able to offer our services without our volunteers. And one of our volunteers is Dr. Nina Bodeker. She is a fabulous volunteer, and we wanted to interview her here today because last year she saw more individual clients than anyone else, and we are so grateful for her service. We actually wanted to give her the opportunity to share what volunteering at the clinic means to her. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Nina Bodeker.
Nina Bodeker is my full name, and with titles, it's Dr. Nina Bodeker, licensed acupuncturist. I went to school here in Berkeley, AMC Acupuncture School, and at the time, we had a teacher there, Dr. Amy Chang, who also was a volunteer at the Charlotte Maxwell Clinic as an acupuncturist. And she had this idea of bringing the school and the clinic together. She felt there should be a synergy, there could be a very good overlap of interest. She managed to set up a community clinic acupuncture shift at Charlotte Maxwell, which ran under the umbrella of the school, so students could come and give treatment. And I had heard from older students about it, and everybody was raving about it, and they loved that shift. And I knew I wanted to be on that shift, and I wanted to go to Charlotte Maxwell. And so I applied for it. I applied, and I went through the volunteer training at Charlotte Maxwell. So that was really my first exposure to the clinic, the volunteer training, and that sold me. This training weekend was so enlightening in so many ways and so beautiful. The thoughtfulness and mindfulness that went into creating this training program, I just knew this was the right place. My first impression of Charlotte Maxwell, that was that volunteer treatment, and then shortly thereafter we started treating clients there, and I just loved it from the first day. I really enjoy being there. I enjoy the way staff interacts with each other, interacts with clients. Clients come in like their family. It feels like you're going to a family affair. Everybody's very warm and welcoming. It's a very well-run organization. Everything feels very well thought out, from the volunteer training to begin with, to the way they coordinate their shifts and call clients, and the charting system that we chart in, but where it can also see all their Western medical history, for example, and what other practitioners have been doing. Everything feels very well organized, and that makes me feel good being part of that system. There, everything runs as smoothly as possible, and that is another aspect that I admire a lot about Charlotte Maxwell, because not many organizations manage to keep going decade after decade, just based on volunteer work, on donations. And I think that's what makes volunteers also come back, because they feel that their time is used in the most effective way possible. We so often think about giving and taking as two distinct sides of a coin, like there's a giver and a taker, and it takes one of each. And I believe we're all givers, we're all takers. We're all creating this. It's like a dance, and we're creating this interaction together, and we all receive, I feel, more than what we're giving. Like the sum is greater than the parts. I know from my own experience that every time I walk out at the end of my shift, I feel rewarded. I feel richer for it. I feel that my heart was filled, my vessel was filled up, so to speak. And I hear similar statements from clients, so it really works both ways.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nina Bodeker. As Mary Lynn said, our volunteers make our work possible. They are the sole providers of our healing treatments, help with logistical clinical support, and help steer the organization in the right direction. If you would like to volunteer with us, excuse me, as a practitioner, as program support, or as a board member, we invite you to get involved by clicking the link for volunteering in the chat. Charlotte Maxwell Clinic is located in Oakland in the 12th Congressional District. And now it is my pleasure to welcome Cesar Macias, Congressional Aide to Congresswoman Barbara Lee, representative of the 12th District. Cesar, thank you so much for joining us today.
Melbra, good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone. My name is Cesar Macias, Congressional Aide for Congresswoman Barbara Lee. And really the reason I'm here is to just recognize the incredible team at Charlotte Maxwell Clinic. It's truly remarkable that for 32 years, your mission and vision has remained the same. Your passion, your dedication, and your commitment to not only offering free services to low-income women in our district living with cancer, but also empowering them is truly commendable. So for all the incredible work that you've done this far and for all the incredible work that you'll continue to do, I'd like to present to you a congressional certificate of recognizing your contributions to our community. Again, thank you all so much for your incredible work, and enjoy the rest of the program and have an amazing Thursday.
Oh, thank you so much, Cesar. On behalf of our entire organization, we greatly appreciate you joining us here today. What an honor to receive this congressional recognition. Please, on our behalf, give Congresswoman Lee our highest regards. Thank you again.
Will. You're welcome.
So, Mary Lynn, would you like to introduce our next guest?
Sure, Melbra, thanks. I would also like to thank our wonderful pre-event coverage for the event today, which is through ABC 7. They are our generous media sponsor. And I would like to welcome Mimi Kwan. Mimi Kwan is ABC 7's Vice President of Community Engagement, and she's here with us today. Mimi, thanks so much for helping us get the word out about the wonderful work that the Charlotte Maxwell Clinic offers. We are so grateful to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mary Lynn and Dr. Morales, I'm sorry. It is such an honor for us to be a part of this family circle of support. I want to thank all of our friends who are joining us today. I applaud your strength, your resilience, and I want to thank the incredible hard work of the staff at Charlotte Maxwell Clinic, the donors, volunteers, board members, and truly dedicated team members like my friend Janice Edwards, who introduced me to Charlotte Maxwell Clinic. What a remarkable team that helps ensure Charlotte Maxwell Clinic continues its legacy of service. ABC 7 is truly, truly proud to be a part of today and to help promote the wonderful work that you're doing. I'm excited for the Wellness and the Healing Journey event. What a fantastic line of speakers we have today. Thank you again for letting me be a part of this event.
Thank you so much, Mimi Kwan and ABC 7. Now let's go to the video that we have of Ysabel Duron and Melbra.
At this time, we are very excited to have the opportunity to speak with a very special guest who is an Emmy-winning journalist, patient advocate, and a cancer survivor. She is also the founder of Latinas Contra Cancer and the Latino Cancer Institute. Please join me in welcoming Miss Ysabel Duron.
Hello, Melbra. Good to be with you and to be with all of the Charlotte Maxwell family. I'm sorry I couldn't be in person, but I'm thrilled to be able to spend some time with you.
Well, what a pleasure it is having you here, even in virtual space. I think that's just wonderful. Thanks so much for being with us today. Ysabel, you were an anchor at Contra TV for more than 40 years. How did you choose that profession, and what were some of your career highlights there?
I don't think, Melba, that I chose the career. It chose me. I came out of the womb a chatty child, always curious and always talking. And I'll share that when I was about 15, I decided when I was about 12 or 13 that I wanted to become a foreign correspondent, because I wanted the idea of travel and meeting all kinds of people. And because of the books I read, it just inspired my idea to journey far. But I remembered when I was about 15, I went out to the fields. I grew up in the agricultural valley of Salinas, and we were trying to help my mom raise a little money to pay for our school uniforms because we all went to Catholic school. And so I went out to the fields, and there was this job at the time where you would use a short hoe and you would just be hoeing up the strawberries. Mm-hmm. And I remember, at the end of the day, and we were supposed to get paid more than when we picked strawberries, and we would get paid at the end of the day. And I remember at the end of the day, the foreman said to me, "Don't come back, you talk too much." So, I said, my career is set,
Wow. That is something, yes.
Yeah, I was predestined. But but the fact of the matter is that in the 43 years actually that I worked in television, and even though my BA was in journalism and print, I chose in 1970 to transition into television because I knew as a woman of color, as a Latina, that I would go faster, further in television, which was fairly young and new, as compared to sitting, in the obit section of a newsprint or a newspaper. And I might be able to start bigger than at a small newspaper. So I deliberately chose that. And I think that's one of the other things that I discovered about me. From a young age, I'm very strategic. I think things through, I figure out what's got to be done, and then I aim towards that. But wow, I just found that television was the great place for me to be. And I did not start as an anchor. You have to earn that. Or I used to tell the young women that better you be a reporter because you'll be a better anchor. But I would say I aimed for that job very deliberately, again, Melba, because I recognized that as a Latina, I was actually the face and the front for a community that was not understood, that didn't have a voice. And therefore, it was part of my responsibility, just as a Latina, that I needed to represent more than just myself. And so I knew that sitting in front of that camera as that anchor person was where I needed to aim for. And I think I did that for probably 33 of the 40 some years I spent in television.
Wow. What a great story. What a great life that is, and a great example for so many women.
Well,
yes. So can you share with us, it seems like something else may have chosen you. Can you share with us at what point you were diagnosed with cancer and how that has impacted your life?
23 years ago, I was diagnosed. But let me back up just a little bit with a bit of a story that shows how being where I was and cancer touched me even before it touched me personally. This was in the mid-70s when cancer was very secretive, and in particular breast cancer. Then First Lady Betty Ford and Vice Presidential wife Happy Rockefeller were both diagnosed with breast cancer around the same time, believe it or not. And they literally brought cancer out to the country as breast cancer patients. And it was near that time when I was at a story that a plastic surgeon approached me at a meeting, and he said, "It is wrong to do radical mastectomies on breast cancer patients." And it was a common practice at the time. So I did a story with him. He had argued that radical mastectomy were physically debilitating, emotionally wrenching, and most unnecessary. And it made it almost impossible to do implants and reconstruct the breast. So he told me about a patient who was about 50 years old. I remember her still. This is a woman with a lot of life in her and a very deep whiskey voice. And she agreed that I could film her surgery, in which the surgeon performed this modified mastectomy, which kept the muscular infrastructure of the breast in place so that he could add implants. And she told me she wanted to look good for her boyfriend. That's why she was going to do this. That was how cancer, and so to me, that was the most human, wonderful thing, while he was telling me the scientific, aspect of breast cancer. And this is what I love to bring to stories, both the very human and emotional element, as well as very scientific and critical information that people need to consider through their own challenges, and particularly around breast cancer. But it touched my life, and I was thrilled that as a reporter, I could shine the light of day on that subject that had been treated so secretively, that made women feel uncomfortable, even somehow feel shame, I think, for getting breast cancer. I was always looking for stories that were unique, but important to people's lives. And so I dared to raise topics that others wouldn't touch or couldn't see. So when I was diagnosed in the year 1999 by my gynecologist, who was actually doing a checkup on me and saw this dark spot, so he biopsied it, and it turned out to be Hodgkin's lymphoma. And early stage, 2A. And my very first thought when he said to me, Ysabel, this is cancer. And my two thoughts, okay, God, this isn't about dying. What's the point? And the second thought I had was, I wonder if I should do a story. So I turned the camera on myself, and I did a 3-part series. And not only did I bring people to travel with me through various stages of my own treatment, but I also introduced them to a male support group, because I thought that was really critical in 1999 to show men go into support group, because we know how difficult it is with men to encourage them to do these sorts of things. And then I also looked at some of the advances in cancer research. And so we were at Stanford, and we looked at, they were talking about immunotherapy then, which was very new and very advanced. And now it is something that is, many people are eligible to get if they're in the right place, if they're in the right hospital, and if they've got the right kind of pay to make sure that they can, access this kind of quality advanced care. So what I did was I turned this experience into a learning moment for an audience, so that I could lift the veil around the issue. Cancer was still the big C, but also I found it really critical for my own kind of healing, my own sense of purpose. Like every day that I got up so fatigued, I could barely put on my makeup before. And I did go to work on the weekends while I was doing this, because I was determined that I would be in charge of it instead of it in charge of me.
Yes.
And so I just felt that I guess I had the worst, but I embraced the best of it and made it work for me.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. And how long has it been since your treatment?
23 years.
23 years.
I did 3 months of chemotherapy and 1 month of radiation on a daily basis. And comparatively, I didn't find the radiation as bad as the chemotherapy was, which was, as I said, very debilitating, put me in the hospital a couple of times. And just things that one dealt with over time.
Well, what words of encouragement can you offer to our Charlotte Maxwell Clinic clients and other guests who are dealing with cancer right now?
Well, there is dawn after the darkness. I believe, I know that some have greater challenges than others. And I hope that for all their sakes, they can find someone like a Charlotte Maxwell or support groups within their own communities or other community-based organizations like the one I created in my past, the Latinas Contra Cancer, in which we were trying, in fact, to help navigate our communities through these situations, not just after they got cancer, but before they got cancer, because I'm so much about information and early intervention so we can diminish, 1, risk, 2, we catch that early, and 3, we don't get to that 3rd and 4th stage where it seems very dark place to be. And so, but I think there are just so many more places available to most of our patients and in their languages, which is really important because to me, language of the soul and language spoken are very critical to not just being able to understand your diagnosis, the treatment plan, but be able to share directly with your doctor so you know what the heck he's talking about. I mean, it's difficult enough in English, but when you're having someone translate over it and hoping that you get it, but that you can't ask in return to help clarify, that leaves a certain kind of an uncertainty for women. I mean, we've done in the research that I've done with Stanford, UC Davis, UCSF, Georgetown, the work that we have done, once again, with low income and Spanish speaking women, is that we see that they oftentimes have breast cancer, but they don't know that there are different kinds of breast cancer. They have a diagnosis, but they don't know the stage. They don't necessarily understand the long-term treatment plan. And all of this because there are these barriers. And they also don't always know that they're not getting, the platinum plan. They're getting the bronze plan, right? And there's nothing they can do about it because they're limited by payer and protocol and policy. And that's where I'm working today, Melba. I'm working through the Latino Cancer Institute as much as I did not want to work and, unraveling the sausage, that's where I'm at the policy level. Because I saw for the 17 years I worked directly in community, determining those services along the cancer continuum, I recognized that I could help 1 patient, 2 patients, 20 patients, 100 patients. But if there was a policy in the way, a provider in the way, who were not removing barriers to quality care, I needed to address those barriers, those infrastructure barriers, those systems barriers, even people barriers. That's where I needed to address at very high levels, which is why I work now at the state and the federal levels.
What would, say, someone today who may be experiencing or being diagnosed, just discovered they've been diagnosed with cancer, what is it that they can experience today that maybe was different 5 years ago as a result of this policy work?
Well, not necessarily mine in this moment, but things that have been done over the years, so that we're seeing that people, we have the Every Woman Counts, which we fought very hard for. The feds and the state pay for this, but eventually opening it up and making sure that women do have access, whether they have insurance or not. So Every Woman Counts has been a real difference maker for a lot of people. That was huge in a policy way. But there are still gaps in those services. And one of the things right now that is really critical are we're seeing gaps in access to genetic and genomic testing. So genetics to be tested in case you have a family history, and this will be able to tell you what your risk factors are and even help inform other members of the family. And then on the genomic side, it is testing tumors for what might be the best and appropriate treatment plans that are out there. If you don't have access to these tests, then that's not quality care.
Right.
And that access might be written in a book. It might be considered the standard of care, but oftentimes it's applied inconsistently. and particularly for women of color, for low-income communities, and for those who are, to some extent, unaware to ask. I have this. Can I get this? You know, push, advocate for themselves, or if not, get themselves an advocate. So there is an area where I am really trying to push now at the policy level that, okay, you say it's a standard of care, but it's not being applied consistently. We need to make this happen. And so I'm lining up my ducks, both at the state and the federal levels. We're engaged in a number of research projects, a couple of them with Stanford and one with UC Davis, where we're going to kind of build the evidence to show why this is critical for women to have this access, but also what infrastructure problems create the barriers. So it could be protocol within systems, it could be payer, or it can be a policy that comes out of state or federal. Most recently, in a coalition with other groups led by the City of Hope in Southern California, we were able to support and drive and push the SB 987, which now allows Medicaid patients with advanced diagnosis, so third and fourth stage, to access comprehensive cancer centers for the latest and best kinds of diagnostics and care. And a lot of them never know they can do this. So partially is to get it passed, and the others to make sure communities know about these so that they can ask or they can approach and ask these groups for care because it's being covered.
And the advantage of these comprehensive cancer centers for patients are what?
Well, the advantages is that first of all, they're research hospitals. So they're always looking for the best new approach to cancer care. The second thing is that they have all of these advanced treatments. They will do all of this testing. What's problematic is oftentimes the amount of people on Medicaid and other forms of insurance for low income. They don't always, accept every single one who walks in the door. With this kind of a policy, it's like they can't turn them away. So that's the shift. That's the difference. But as I said, when we were at Stanford 23 years ago looking at immunotherapy, it is now practiced constantly and consistently, but usually at these major comprehensive cancer centers. You can't go to the local, federally qualified clinic and get that kind of care or access to that advanced cancer. They're usually sending you to these places to try to get this advanced care. And unfortunately, for many patients, they don't live in an area that is rich like the Bay Area with comprehensive cancer centers where they can go and find that kind of advanced care, where public health care systems can send in partnership with Stanford or with the UCSF, a children's Benioff for your children, UCSF children's Benioff. People who live in rural areas, who live 100 miles away, who live in the Central Valley and might be close nowhere and have to do all of this traveling. So those are all of the challenges, and those are the kinds of things that we have to strategically look at to address. One of the penultimate, awards or rewards, even though it's a lot more work that has happened most recently, was that President Biden nominated me to become an advisor on the National Cancer Advisory Board, which advises the director of the National Cancer Institute. They focus a lot on research. I'm going to get in there and really work hard to get them to invest back in community. Because we can research and research and research, but if we do not get all of that learning down into community so that we can actually do the practical work on the ground.
Yes.
It doesn't it's beautiful. It gives somebody a PhD. It's wonderful knowledge. But if it doesn't really make a change in our landscape where we work, then we're spending a lot of taxpayer dollars on, we're not sure. But I'm hoping that will be, where I have some really important and make some important changes. And I figured, okay, this is what God's been getting me, this stepladder, getting me ready to be there. And hopefully before I, step out of the arena, I will have been able to make some changes at that level.
Beautiful. Wow.
So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful little get-together, meeting, conference, and just being together.
Thank you so much, Ysabel.
You're very welcome.
This has been so important for us to hear and so insightful. Thank you again.
Very much glad to be here with you. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Was that amazing? I'm just so overwhelmed. I really want to say thank you to Ysabel Duron and to Melbra for creating that interview for us today. Now I'm going to hear from our board of directors.
Good morning. My name is Alice Gandelman, and I am co-chair with my esteemed co-chair colleague, Annette Walton. We are so happy that you were all here today. Just like to talk to you a little bit about why so many of us are board members, volunteers, and part of the Charlotte Maxwell community. Like many of you and others, I too have a personal story and have had a personal journey with cancer. I still remember the phone call over 10 years ago when my doctor called me. I was at work and he said, "Hi, how are you? Are you sitting down?" He didn't even tell me what the diagnosis was, but when he said, "Are you sitting down?" I knew what my diagnosis was going to be. I knew what came next. You have cancer would forever change my life as I knew it. I'm grateful to say that I have been cancer-free for over 10 years now, and I am very grateful for that. One of the reasons that I serve on the board is because I understand how important integrative care is for individuals and women who are going through their cancer journey, for all individuals. And I also understand how important equitable treatment is for everybody on the healing journey, regardless of ability to pay. It is that other half that really helps us integrate and heal from the uncertainty, fear, difficult side effects from treatment, and even many of the shifting relationships that we often experience with our family, friends, coworkers in the wake of our diagnoses. So being able to come to a place where we are seen and heard and treated with dignity and humanity and warmth is of utmost importance, while receiving services that improve our health and transform lives. All of these services that Charlotte Maxwell Clinic and the wonderful volunteers and staff provide is of utmost and paramount importance on that healing journey. We hope that you are moved by Charlotte Maxwell's mission and that you will help us to keep the clinic open, because we rely on donations and the services, as you are aware of, from volunteers and others. Many of you may have received a link when you registered for the event on how you can help donate to the clinic. I want to emphasize that no donation, no contribution is too small. So we're grateful for anything that you can give as either a one-time or a recurring contribution. These are tax deductible, of course. So again, I just wanted to thank you all for participating in this event, and I'd like to introduce and turn it over to my colleague, Annette Walton. Annette?
Good morning, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. And as Alice mentioned, I'm Annette Walton, board co-chair of the Charlotte Maxwell Clinic. Alice, thank you so much for sharing your touching story and healing journey. It's the positive outcome we want all our clients to receive as well. All of us know someone who's been touched by cancer. I wish my beloved grandmother, Loveline, could have participated in the services offered by CMC. Love was in her name. Love is what she shared and gave to me. And she instilled in me the power of giving from my heart, of my time and my resources, and in her memory and honor. And it's because of her that I serve this cherished community. For 32 years, Charlotte Maxwell has provided free integrative care to low-income women in need. And during these tough economic times of the last few years, we have struggled to keep our doors open and maintain our commitment to wellness in the healing journey. On our webpage is our 2022 Impact Report. And if you haven't had a chance to see it, it provides details about the accounting and all the things that we do for free for our clients. Do you know that a donation of $1,000 makes it possible to provide treatments to 20 clients? $250 make it possible to give 5 wellness workshops. A $100 monthly gift also provides care and treatment for up to 12 patients per year, and a one-time $100 donation helps provide 3 treatments, including acupuncture, massage, and other integrative treatments that insurance doesn't cover. We believe that every woman with cancer should have access to integrative care to help them manage their symptoms of cancer and its treatment. We'd like to help continuing, women for another 30 years or in perpetuity if we are so blessed. So can we count on you and your compassion to help us continue to serve our clients? If so, please give and use the instructions that were on the page by donating to Flip Cause, using the QR code that was shown, or text CMC Cares to the phone number 510-694-0477. And if you're more comfortable and would like to mail a check, that information is also in our chat feature. So no amount is too small, and you can elect any kind of reoccurring payment or a one-time donation. And if not today, then tomorrow or whenever you can. We truly appreciate you and your giving heart, and thank you for your generosity. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Dr. Morales. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette, and thank you both for that moving story. So how's everybody doing? I hope you're ready to do a little bit of moving around. I want to introduce you next to our CMC volunteer, Tricia Probert. She is an oncology exercise trainer, and she's been bringing exercise into the lives of our clients since 2015. She's here today to share some exercise tips with us.
Thank you, Dr. Morales. And thank you everyone for joining us. When Charlotte Maxwell asked me to share some fitness tips, I thought under the large, broad category of fitness, exercise, movement, what could I choose for my 6 minutes with you? And there was my answer. How many of us feel like if we only had more time in the day, we could fit exercise into our lives? Often you'll find at the end of the day, gosh, I haven't moved at all. Maybe you were seated at a desk working all day, or perhaps you were lying on a couch, just enduring yet another chemotherapy treatment. Whatever the reason for the inactivity, don't beat yourself up over it. Remember, there's no time like the present. And a very important line that I love, any movement is better than no movement. So keep that in mind throughout your day. Any movement is better than no movement. Now, I am here to show you that in 5 minutes, you can bring energy into your life with just a 5-minute workout. However, I don't want you to just take my word for this. So we're going to make this interactive. Please, everyone, viewers, staff, panelists, everyone, let's stand up, come out of our chairs, move our chairs aside, give yourself some space, look around, no trip hazards, and join me in this 5-minute movement. By the way, if you are unable for any reason to come out of your chair and you need to remain seated, sit up taller, move any body parts that are willing. All I'm going to ask you to do right now is start with a basic march. I'm going to march in place, and I'm going to start swinging my arms. So what feels good to you? You know your body better than anyone else. If it feels good to add a little extra bounce in your march, go for that. Little extra bounce, little big swings with your arms. Start with a march in place. If it feels good, do a little jog in place. So this is going to be up to you. Again, marching, jogging, whatever works for you. So in a moment, I would like you to follow along. Join me for just a few exercises for the upper body. These are designed to work your muscles, No equipment necessary, just our body weight and gravity. So marching, jogging, toe tapping, whatever moves you. We're going to start with my favorite exercise because gravity is constantly pulling our shoulders down into that flex position, and we need to counteract daily gravity changes on our bodies. So we want to stretch out the chest muscles and target those upper back muscles that get very lax. Bring your arms up. Hope you're all joining me. Just 5 minutes. Your elbows are as high as your shoulders. Palms are facing forward. I'm going to bring my palms and forearms together in front of my face and then open out to the side. Now, when you open out to the side, emphasize the squeezing between the shoulder blades. Really target that upper back. Squeezing in front, more squeeze in back. We're going to do a couple more of these than we do the other exercises. These are so critical. Squeeze in front, squeeze in back, squeeze in front, squeeze in back. Are you still marching? Are you jogging? Open for 4 more. 3. Are we breathing? Keep breathing. 2 more. Last one. We're going to take those palms more chest height now and press forward. And again, target that back. You're going to pull the elbows back. Press forward. Here's a side view. Elbows back. Squeeze between those shoulder blades. Press forward. Pull back. Press forward. Pull back. How about 4 more? Press and pull. Press. Keep breathing. 2 more. Last one, but you're going to keep those palms ready to go to the ceiling. Press up to the ceiling and come back down. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Maybe you're looking up, don't get dizzy or off balance, but if you can stretch that neck by watching those palms go up to the ceiling and back. 2 more. Last one, keep those arms raised because we're going out to the sides now. Press as if you're trying to reach opposite sides of the room with your left and right palms. Bring the elbows in, press away. Elbows in, press away. Elbows in, press away. And we have 4 more. Keep moving. Last one. Can we keep those arms raised? Your shoulders might be getting a little tired. If so, drop them, shake them out, and come back out. Arms are really long here. Trying to reach the opposite sides of the room with your fingertips. Now you're going to start little mini circles with those arms. Keep them stretched out long. Little circles, moving in one direction. And now start that circle in the opposite direction. Keep circling, keep those arms up, keep moving. Are we jogging? Are we marching? Or no lower body movement if that feels better for you. And 3, 2, 1. Turn the palms to face up now. And the next exercise, keep those elbows high as you tap your shoulders with your fingertips and open the arms out wide. Tapping shoulders, opening wide. Tap shoulders, open wide. Tap and open. And you have 4 more. 3, 2. Last one. Arms come in front with palms up. Little fists, not too tight. Keep those elbows high as you bend and extend. Bend and extend. Feel those biceps working here. Bend and extend. Bend and extend. Hold those elbows up as high as you can and keep breathing. Bend and extend. How about 4 more? 3, 2, and last one. And you can bring those arms down and shake out those arms. And the next 30 seconds is going to be for you what feels good to your body. I want you to just move in any direction that feels good to you. And you can hop, skip, or jump, or dance. and move, move, move. You've got 20 more seconds, but keep moving to your own beat. And speaking of which, put some music on the next time. Later in the day, take another 5 minutes or 10. Put some music on and dance to your heart's content. All right. I want to thank Charlotte Maxwell for the invitation, for all of the amazing work that all of you, the staff, the volunteers do, and much love to the clients of Charlotte Maxwell. You women inspire us all the time. You're beautiful people, and keep using Charlotte Maxwell's services because they're doing such amazing work. Love you all.
Thank you, Tricia. Thank you for helping us generate some energy for whatever journey we may be on. As you have seen throughout this morning, Charlotte Maxwell Clinic volunteers play an integral role in all that we do. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to yet another CMC volunteer, certified life coach, author, and cancer thriver, Edna Castillo.
My name is Edna Castillo, and I was originally born in Guatemala, which is a country in Central America. Grew up in San Francisco, and now I'm dialing in from the East Bay. Well, I am a certified life coach, author, and speaker. And a friend of mine was actually, who lives in Berkeley, is very much involved with Charlotte Maxwell, and she is the one that introduced me. I was delighted to see an organization giving back. And the reason she introduced me is because I had recently gone through a breast cancer journey myself and had used life coaching skills going through that traumatic experience, and wanted to basically coach other people using those tools to have a more expansive experience as they're undergoing some of the cancer treatments. It all started when I started hearing a voice while I was in corporate life, and it kept saying, is that all there is in life? Is that all there is? And I knew there was something greater that I was supposed to do other than put some zeros in somebody's bottom line. And as I started that discovery, I bumped into, or I should say, I was led to life coaching. I got my certification, and I was doing it part-time while I still working an 8-to-5 job. And about 8 months after I was certified, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. After that, I just decided to concentrate on my health. May 5th will be 2 years to the day that I will be cancer free. I just this week I had my appointment with the oncologist, and everything turned out great. My role in this is to provide to you 3 pointers that I not only teach the clients that I work with at CMC, but I also use myself. I am a cancer thriver, as was said, and I use these tools, these 3 pointers that I'm going to give you during that journey. It actually helped me to set the tone for each day because I do them first thing in the morning. The first thing is to connect with spirit, right? And by what I mean with spirit, I don't mean for the religious sense. What I mean is that life, that essence that breathes us life every day, right? So for some of us, it might be we may call a God or Buddha or whatever your word is for an essence of energy that breathes us life. So connecting with spirit for me is through meditation. For other people, it may be a walk in nature or journaling or painting, something that connects you to your creative sense, something that brings quiet and calm into your life. And the point for this is to release the stress, the anxiety, and really feel relaxed, and to bring your nervous system to a relaxed state. The second thing I do in the morning is I do a gratitude journal. and I have 5 to 10 things that I'm grateful for on a daily basis. I try to make those to be not surface level gratitudes, but to be different every day, such as when I was walking with cancer, if I was going to, if I had gone to an appointment the day before, remembering the kindness of the nurse that served me, or the blood work that came back well, or perhaps the conversation that I had with somebody wishing me well. So those are the items that would then, the point for this is to really enhance what the gift of life is, and how fortunate we are to be in the moment of life, and put the focus on that rather than in the cancer journey. And lastly is to set an intention of who I am. I am walking with cancer, yes, but I am strong, healthy, vibrant, full of energy. Having those words be said as an I am, it really brings focus and energy of our trueness of who we are supposed to be. Yes, there might be a condition or a situation, but we are strong, we are vibrant, we are healthy. And the point of this is to set the intention of energy of who we want to be, how we want to show up in life. And concentrating, instead of in the condition that we're living, concentrate on the how we want to show up, who we want to be. And that sets the tone of showing up in life a little bit different than we would regularly do when we're facing circumstance. So those 3 tips just gave me more appreciation for life on a daily basis, and it still does. So for now, I do want to thank Melba and CMC for inviting me, not only for this summit, for inviting me to be one of your volunteers, because it has been my pleasure to serve many of the women that are going through this journey. And it is very inspiring on how each and every one of us goes through this. So with that, I hope these tips help you, and have a wonderful day.
Oh, thank you so much, Edna. What great news that you're celebrating 2 years of being cancer-free. So we really appreciate you being here today. Your words of wisdom as a life coach have inspired so many of our clients, and we really appreciate your 3 tips. And now, everyone, is your chance to win Edna's book, Living Your Intuitive Genius. Also, for your chance to win one of the lovely gifts in our gift basket, we'd like to tell you again what we're offering. We have Edna's book, Living Your Intuitive Genius. Also, a product from Thrive Cosmetics, a CMC mug with goodies, including organic tea, honey, spoons, chocolates, a candle, an affirmation stone, and a CMC pen. So for your chance to win one of these lovely gifts, we invite you to complete our feedback survey. That's all you have to do. Give us some feedback. We really, really appreciate it. Once you complete your survey, your name will be entered in a drawing, and winners will be notified, will be drawn and then notified within 2 weeks. And we have 5 gift baskets to send to our winners. So please fill out the survey. Also, if you have a healing journey story you'd like to share, feel free to email it to us at mail@charlottemaxwell.org. As we conclude our program for today, please join me in thanking our presenters and our guests. A special thank you goes to our production team, and most of all, to each of you for joining us. We appreciate you for being a treasured member of our Charlotte Maxwell community. Please let us know if we might be of service in any way, and thank you again for your support. Again, this video will be remade and available on our YouTube channel, and everyone will be notified. I'm Melbra Watts, and it has been a pleasure to share this time with you. Thank you again, and have a great day.